Okay, now that you have a good start on the iris and the pupil, the inside of the eye, I'm going to demonstrate now how to shade the outer side of the eye to actually make it look like you have skin and an eyelid, and then this underneath part, and then the eyelashes and everything else that goes into the rest of the eye. When I do this, I actually like using the willow charcoal and not the pencils because I think it works a lot smoother and it's a lot faster for me than trying to work with the pencils. I will use a pencil though to outline the more of the defined lines on the outside of the eye just to give myself a guideline. So I'm just going to work here and quickly just draw an eyelid so that way I have some kind of a guideline to follow when I start shading this inside of the eye. Erase my guideline. And then the underneath side, you'll have this line for where the eyelashes are going to go. So that just roughly gives me something to kind of start shading on. Then remember, you want to shade with the curve of the skin. You don't want to shade it directly across. You actually want to shade it so it starts to look like you have, this is round and not necessarily flat. I always like to still just lay down a little charcoal, and if I have to add more to make it darker, I'll go back in and make it darker. That's the time that I'll actually go back in with the pencil just to pull out some darkness, but for the overall covering of a place, I like to use that willow charcoal. Now one of the keys with this is you'll want to take your 2B in this line right under the eyelid that separates the eyelid and the actual eyeball itself. That's very key to helping that eye pop off. And actually there's a little bit more underneath and onto the iris. It's kind of almost like a little shadow it will put onto your eye. But that will help the realism of the eyeball. Now that I'm looking at it more closely, there's another small dark line here. I think that's the fold of the eyelid. Your eyelashes are going to be. Now if that's kind of a harsh line, you can gently take the blending stick over it to help just soften the look a little bit. Just want to be careful to make it not look like you have eyeliner. And then I'm going to shade the white of the eye. Okay. Make sure you do have this white reflective part of the eye. So I always go back and forth, and like I said, this is just a quick little demo, but I will go back and forth to actually make the fine little finishing touches on this to make it look more realistic. But for now, what I want to do is show you how to do eyelashes. I like using the 6B pencil. And then how I'll do them is I'll press down and then I flick it up at the end. So then it gives it that layered, wispier look towards the tip of it. So it'll look more like the eyelashes. So I'll start And sometimes if I find my 6B's not working, then I will switch to 2B and use them intermixed. So I like just to kind of get a basic shape of the eyelashes first to kind of give myself an idea of what I'm going to do. I'm actually going to switch to 2B, see if that works better. And now I'm going to actually fill in and give it a little more fine details, more fine detailed eyelashes. Now if you don't like them so harsh of a line, like I said before, go ahead with back in with the blender stick. Just barely touch them because it is charcoal, it's going to smudge a lot easier. And kind of just add some softness to them. And then that's your basic eyelash. On the bottom side, it's that same idea, you're just going to go like this. But I forgot to shade this bottom part, which is actually what I want to do before I put the eyelashes are the last step for me. I found that's easiest because then you'd have to work around all of this shading, all the eyelashes to get the shading in. Just want to show you quickly just a couple. So it's the same idea on the bottom side. You press down and then flick up and you'll get your eyelashes. So